The evidence that we have found and that we have released directly point to President Obama leading the manufacturing of this intelligence assessment. There are multiple pieces of evidence and intelligence that confirm that fact.
Ed, go ahead.
Director Gabbard, thank you. So just to, two questions, but to begin on that. The president yesterday, you've inferred that the former president helped lead a coup. Based on what you now see, do you believe President Obama is guilty of treason?
I'm leaving the criminal charges to the Department of Justice. I am not an attorney, but as I've said previously, when you look at the intent behind creating a fake manufactured intelligence document that directly contradicts multiple assessments that were created by the intelligence community, the expressed intent and what followed afterward can only be described as a years-long coup and a treasonous conspiracy against the American people, our republic, and an attempt to undermine President Trump's administration.
This is my video update on this Wednesday afternoon, July the 23rd, coming to you from Moscow. Let's talk about some news. And let's start things off with the protests in Kiev. We have anti-Zelensky protests taking place in Kiev. Not huge crowds, but big enough to get people's attention. And they are protesting the law that Zelensky has signed, where he is curtailing the independence of the anti-corruption agencies known as the NABU and the SAPO. The NABU and the SAPO. And it is believed, actually I think this is fact, but I'll say for the purposes of this video that it is believed that these agencies were set up by the United States post-Maidan. It was set up in 2014 after the Maidan. And they were set up, I believe, or it is believed they were set up by the U.S. State Department, by the three-letter agencies in the United States, in order to provide oversight for the government in Kiev, whether we're talking about Poroshenko at the time or Zelensky. This was an anti-corruption policing agency that was set up to make sure that whatever money and weapons flowed to Project Ukraine, that the money and the weapons were going to the places and the people that the agency, the anti-corruption agency, wanted all of this money and weapons to go to. So it was a anti-corruption policing oversight type of agency that acted independently from the office of the president. And my understanding of it, and I could be wrong, but my understanding is that this agency was very much under the control of the Collective West and was actually staffed and reporting to the Collective West, to the U.S. State Department and the three-letter agencies. But I could be wrong about that. But anyway, this independent oversight agency, anti-corruption agency, is now being targeted by Zelensky. There's a new law which he has signed, which brings the NABU and the SAPO under his control. It diminishes their power, their oversight power, and it brings it under his control. It basically centralizes more power under Zelensky. And this has upset people so much so that they're going onto the streets. I find this a bit hard to believe that people in Kiev are this upset about going after an anti-corruption agency that they're willing to protest, to go to the streets and protest. My guess would be that these people are being directed to hit the streets by the three-letter agencies that created the NABU. That would be my guess. Today it's Dobry Kola. Anyway, yeah, I've never heard of a protest taking place because an anti-corruption agency sponsored by another country is being shut down or targeted. Obviously, there's something else going on here. But anyway, the protesters are there. It's attracting a lot of attention. They're chanting some very nasty stuff about Zelensky. I'm in front of a church right now, but they are saying that this is what they're chanting: that Zelya is the devil. They're saying that's Zelya in reference to Zelensky. They call him Zelya. I say the Green Goblin. They're saying that Yermak could go F himself. I feel bad saying this as I'm walking around this church, but anyway, we're reporting the news, so it is what it is. They're also saying, they're also chanting, "We're not dumb," or "We're not idiots," is what they're chanting. And that's what's happening in Kiev. It's the Maidan protesting the Maidan in a way, isn't it? Because my sense of things is that these protesters, in one form or another, are being sponsored by the three-letter agencies that sponsored the Maidan, and they're protesting the government that was put in place after the Maidan, the structure that was put in place after the Maidan coup. So it is very much like the Maidan is now protesting the Maidan, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, Zelensky's in trouble, man. He is in trouble. But I said in my video update yesterday when I was talking about the Naboo, which sounds like something out of Avatar, isn't it? James Cameron's Avatar. Weren't they called the Naboo? That's how you know this is a Collective West construct, is when they come up with names like the Naboo or the Sapo, the Naboo. Anyway, I talked about this yesterday in my video update. And I said that what's going on here is that Zelensky is basically using the targeting of the Naboo as some sort of leverage or pressure towards the Collective West, towards the U.S. and towards Europe, basically telling them, look, if you don't send me more money and weapons, then there's no need to have this policing oversight agency. So I'm just going to put it under my control. Whatever money is in Ukraine at the moment, weapons and money, whatever is in Ukraine, I'm just going to watch over that. We don't need this oversight policing agency, and with no money or weapons, there's no reason to have this agency operating under your supervision, under your control. That's basically what he's saying. Give me money, I'll give you the Naboo. Don't give me money, I will not give you the Naboo. That's basically what Zelensky is doing. He's using this as some sort of a leverage, pressure, negotiating tactic with the Collective West. That's basically what he's doing, because the Naboo, one thing that the Naboo agency did is that they were overlooking defense procurement. That's right, that was one of their tasks. To provide oversight for the weapons and the military hardware and all the money spent on defense that was going to Ukraine. And they made sure that money and those weapons went to the right places and the right people, and 10% for the big guy and all of that stuff, right? And now Zelensky is basically shutting it down. He's cutting them off. He's cutting the West off of the defense procurement oversight. Well, because no weapons are flowing to Ukraine anyway. So I think that's the threat. That's the bargain that Zelensky is the message that he's trying to send to the Collective West. I think it's going to backfire on him. That's why you have the protesters now. His answer from the Collective West, from the three-letter agencies, from the State Department is, okay, you're going to shut down our anti-corruption defense procurement agency that we've set up, independent of the office of the president. Well, then we're just going to send protesters onto the street and we're going to coup d'etat you. We're going to Maidan you. That is what's happening. And it's no coincidence that the same day that Zelensky signed the law curtailing the independence of the Naboo, that very same day, we got a statement, as reported by Reuters, I talked about this yesterday, from the former prime minister, who is now the new defense minister, my precious Shmyhal. He said yesterday that Ukraine needs, in military spending from the U.S., from NATO, from Europe, $120 billion. Minimum, he said, of $120 billion is what they need just for 1 year, for next year. So no coincidence at all that this whole Naboo thing goes down. This whole law is signed by Zelensky. And on the same day that he signs this law, you have Shmyhal coming out and saying, what we want is $120 billion. Give us $120 billion in money and weapons. We give you Naboo. Right? We give you oversight of all of the defense procurement. And I think we all know what that means when Ukraine tells the collective West, we'll give you oversight as you had it before of all of the defense procurement. And we know what's at stake for all of the people involved when we're talking about defense procurement and weapons and equipment being sent to Ukraine. It's no coincidence that Trump said yesterday, as he was speaking to the media, President Trump said that Biden gave away $350 billion worth in equipment and cash. He said, we want to find out about that someday. I have a feeling they didn't spend every dollar on the equipment.
To Ukraine or whatever, but they're buying it, so we're not going to have the expense of giving away. Biden gave away $350 billion worth of equipment or cash. Worse than equipment, cash. So we want to find out about that someday, I guess, right? But they were supposed to buy their own equipment, but I have a feeling they didn't spend every dollar on the equipment. But
no coincidence that Trump came out with this statement. Protests taking place in Kiev. Shmyhal asking for $120 billion from the U.S. The Naboo Anti-Corruption Defense Procurement Oversight Agency put under the control of Zelensky, and Trump says, okay, about that $350 billion that Biden sent you, maybe one day we'll find out where all of that money went. Maybe one day we just might find out. Let's see, hundreds protested in Kiev and other Ukrainian cities on Tuesday against a controversial decision to curtail the independence of the country's anti-corruption agencies. The same day, Ukrainian leader Zelensky signed a bill into law placing the National Anti-Corruption Bureau, the NABU, and the Specialized Anti-Corruption Prosecutor's Office, the SAPO, under executive oversight. The move followed security raids on the NABU's offices and the arrest of a senior employee accused of spying for Russia. Prosecutors have also launched an investigation into the SAPO over the alleged mishandling of classified information. Yeah, Zelensky is blaming this on Russia as well. That's his excuse. He's saying he's shutting down, he's targeting the NABU and the SAPO, these agencies, because they've been infiltrated by Russia. Give me a break, man. Give me a break. So you notice how the collective West media is now putting out articles with a very, very mean-looking authoritarian Zelensky as a featured image. The Economist, they have an article with the title, Outrage in Ukraine as the Government Attacks Anti-Corruption Watchdogs. Look at the image that they use for Zelensky. He's no longer the fluffy, cute actor Green Goblin, is he? Churchill, Abraham Lincoln, Green Goblin, Zelensky. Nope, no longer the fluffy and cute actor. Now he looks like the mean authoritarian. And there's a whole bunch of articles with a very different presentation of Zelensky. Il Lebanese says, seems like mainstream media outlets started receiving the same Zelensky memo. Start using villain-like photos of him with immediate effect. And just like that, the herd mass opinion gets reshaped again. Yeah, very true. We are getting a new image of Zelensky. So 2 days ago, the Financial Times put out an article saying that Zelensky is an authoritarian. The same day, The Spectator put out an article saying that Ukraine is sick of Zelensky. The day after that, Deutsche Welle, German state-run media, put out an article asking the question, why is Zelensky forcing mentally ill Ukrainians to the front line? That's Deutsche Welle, German state media. They put out that article 2 days ago. And now you have protests in Kiev. Not looking good for Zelensky, and not looking good on the front lines. Pokrovsk is crumbling a lot faster than I believe anyone imagined. We are getting reports, or yesterday we had rumors which claimed that areas around Pokrovsk, the Ukrainian positions were completely crumbling, and the Ukraine military was retreating from areas outside of Pokrovsk. They were in retreat. The entire Ukraine position there had completely collapsed. And now it looks like these rumors are true. Today we are starting to get a confirmation that these were not rumors, and the Ukraine military is indeed collapsing around Pokrovsk from Yerevan. So the rumors about Ukrainian lines were overrun around Pokrovsk are true. From MD, according to field reports, Kiev forces are retreating from the village of Zverovo near Krasnomayersk and falling back to positions in the settlements of Pervoye Maya and Roza in the outskirts. Right now, Zverovo is undergoing clearing and stabilization operations. So the front line is collapsing in Pokrovsk. The defensive positions of the Ukraine military are collapsing a lot faster than anyone had anticipated. So an overall picture for the Zelensky regime of not good at all. So on the weapons side of things, because Zelensky is demanding weapons, more money and more weapons, $120 billion worth, we are starting to get a response from Germany when it comes to the Patriots. Germany is starting to walk back the delivery of a Patriot system to Ukraine, or at least they're putting conditions. They want guarantees, actually. Germany now wants strong guarantees from the U.S. that when they give over their Patriot in 6 to 8 months, the U.S. will 100% give Germany a new Patriot, a full system. Otherwise, it looks like Germany is not going to hand over the Patriot that they agreed to hand over. The deal that Merz made with Trump, where German media says that Merz was tricked by Trump. Anyway, the deal that they agreed on was that Germany would give over its Patriots. They would pay for everything, hand those Patriots over to Ukraine, and then Germany would pay the United States for new Patriots that would be made available at the end of 6 to 8 months. Germany would be first in line to receive the new Patriots. But that's 6 to 8 months down the line. And now Germany is saying, you know what? We want some rock solid guarantees that in 8 months, when we hand over our Patriot, we're definitely getting what we're buying. We're definitely going to be able to buy a full Patriot system from you, the United States. Otherwise, we may not be handing over our Patriots in 6 to 8 months. So that's the situation there. And the Washington Post, they wrote a fluff piece on the commander of the Ukraine military, Mr. Syrsky. That's right, the Washington Post. They really built up Syrsky in this latest article with the title, Ukraine's top commander asks Trump to help take the war to Russia. With Trump now open to supplying U.S.-made weapons to Ukraine, General Alexander Syrsky calls for longer-range missiles and the permission to use them against Russia. So in this article from the Washington Post, they make Syrsky look really, really good. He is a super commander, and Trump should absolutely put his faith in Syrsky, put his faith in Syrsky's command, and give Syrsky the weapons and the money that he is asking for. That is the purpose of this Washington Post article. They understand that Trump is most likely going to read this article, or at least be briefed on this article, and they want to present the picture of a very capable, very intelligent commander of the Ukraine military in Syrsky, and that Trump should absolutely provide Syrsky with whatever he asks for. So what is Syrsky asking for? He is asking for everything, to be quite honest. He wants air defense systems. He wants ATACMS. He wants Taurus missiles. He wants other long-range missiles, and he's talking about Tomahawk missiles. He wants everything that the United States has. Whatever the United States has, hand it over, give it to me, and give it to me without restrictions. That is what Syrsky is telling Trump. No more restrictions on how I can use these weapons. Hand them over and let me strike deep into Russian territory. And if Syrsky gets these weapons and he's able to strike deep into Russian territory, the strategy is that striking Russian territory, deep into Russian territory and hitting Russian military facilities will force Putin to the negotiating table, where he will then agree to the Kellogg ceasefire plan. That is the thinking that is going on here. Anyway, the Washington Post says a fresh supply of air defense weapons, including U.S.-made Patriots, drone interceptors, and light aviation to shoot down drones could help thwart the Russian attacks, Syrsky said. More mid- and longer-range missiles, including U.S.-made ATACMS and German Taurus systems, would, if issued without restrictions on their use, allow Kiev to slow Russian weapon production by targeting the infrastructure making its missiles and drones. So that's Syrsky's ask of Trump. Hand over everything you got. Give it to me. You can trust me. I'm the amazing, great Syrsky. The Washington Post talks about how Syrsky was the mastermind behind the Kursk incursion, which the Washington Post presents as an incredibly successful operation. That's right, Kursk. They're presenting Kursk as a successful military operation headed up by Syrsky. And just imagine if Syrsky headed up the successful Kursk incursion, just imagine what he would do with all of the U.S.'s weapons and long-range missiles and without any type of restrictions. They also say that Syrsky is a man who, turning 60 this week, he gets very little sleep and is able to do 100 push-ups without a break. That is what the Washington Post actually writes in this article. That's how awesome Syrsky is, which is why Trump should absolutely trust him. Put all of his faith in Syrsky, because not only is he an amazing general, not only did he head up the incredible Kursk incursion, according to the Washington Post, but he can also do 100 push-ups without a break. Wow. Yeah, give him all your weapons, Trump, USA. Give over all of your weapons. It's Syrsky that we're talking about, the amazing Syrsky. Beautiful, huh? Anyway, let's shift gears, and we'll stay with Trump, but we'll talk about the trade deal that he signed with Japan. He posted on Truth Social, "We just completed a massive deal with Japan, perhaps the largest deal ever made. Japan will invest, at my direction, $550 billion into the United States, which will receive 90% of the profits. This deal will create hundreds of thousands of jobs. There has never been anything like it. Perhaps most importantly, Japan will open their country to trade, including cars and trucks, rice and certain other agricultural products, and other things. Japan will pay reciprocal tariffs to the United States of 15%. This is a very exciting time for the United States of America, and especially for the fact that we will continue to always have a great relationship with the country of Japan. Thank you for your attention to this matter." Okay, we don't know much about this trade deal. We have this Truth Social post. Trump also talked a bit about this yesterday as he was speaking to the media, but we don't really have many details as to what this trade deal is all about. But one part that I don't understand from this Truth Social post, it's an amazing trade deal, perhaps the biggest ever, the greatest trade deal ever, as Trump is saying in this Truth Social post. But I don't understand the sentence where Trump says, Japan will invest, at my direction, $550 billion into the United States, which will receive 90% of the profits. How exactly does that work? I don't understand how that works, to be quite honest. Japan is going to invest $550 billion into the United States. Japan is going to put $550 billion into the U.S., and the United States is going to get 90% of the profits from that investment? I don't know, maybe, I guess. I mean, Japan is a vassal of the United States, so maybe that's the deal that they worked out. Possible, I guess. I don't know. It just doesn't make much business sense to me. I don't get it. I don't get it. Anyway, that's the Trump announcement on the Japan deal. And before we get to some clown worlds, to one clown world that we have for today, Pam Bondi, she put out a post on X, quite a long post on X, where she reveals that under Trump's direction, she will be interviewing Ghislaine Maxwell. The DOJ, the Attorney General, has already spoken. She claims that they have already spoken or will speak with Ghislaine's legal team, and they are going to set up a face-to-face meeting with Ghislaine Maxwell. I believe this will be the first on the record, publicly known interview of Ghislaine from the DOJ. So that is what Pam Bondi announced yesterday on X. And the first paragraph of her post reads, "This Department of Justice does not shy away from uncomfortable truths, nor from the responsibility to pursue justice wherever the facts may lead. The joint statement by the DOJ and FBI of July 6 remains as accurate today as it was when it was written, namely that in the recent thorough review of the files maintained by the FBI in the Epstein case, no evidence was uncovered that could predicate an investigation against uncharged third parties." Now, when you read statements from lawyers, you have to read those statements very, very carefully. And I believe the key line in her post on X is, namely, that in the recent thorough review of the files maintained by the FBI in the Epstein case, no evidence was uncovered that could predicate da-da-da-da. But the main words, the main line there is the files maintained by the FBI in the Epstein case. The files maintained by the FBI. Yeah. We're not talking about files that may have been destroyed or lost, disappeared. Nope, just the files that were found at the FBI offices, the files maintained at the FBI. That's what we're talking about. Yeah, all right. Yeah, they're playing with us, man. They're gaslighting us. They're very careful in the words that they use. The files maintained by the FBI. What about the files that the FBI might have destroyed, that Comey might have destroyed, that other FBI officials might have destroyed or might have lost or misplaced or whatever? How about maybe trying to locate those files or that client list or whatever? I don't know. Anyway, man, Ozzy Osbourne passed away yesterday at 76. Ozzy Osbourne. He had a reunion concert just last week with Black Sabbath, right? About like a week or two ago. And he passed away yesterday at 76. The great, legendary Ozzy Osbourne. And I have used one of Ozzy Osbourne's songs often in my video update to describe the collective West and the leaders of the collective West. And that song is Crazy Train. And it accurately describes the leadership of the collective West and everything that they are doing. We are going off the rails of the crazy train. And so I use that song often. An amazing song from Ozzy Osbourne. Rest in peace, Ozzy. All right, so let's do a clown world and we can wrap this video up. And in today's clown world, we will talk about Macron and Macron's approval rating, which is at a historic low for France. The approval rating numbers for Macron puts him at an approval rating of, one second, of 18%. And Bayrou, his prime minister, he has an approval rating of, oh no, wait, Bayrou has an approval rating of 18%. Macron has an approval rating of 19%. Man, during the Yellow Vest protests and all of that, Macron's approval rating, which was a huge deal, Macron was absolutely despised. His approval rating was 23%. He has a lower approval rating today than during the entire Yellow Vest protests. An approval rating of 19%. Bayrou, an approval rating of 18%, making a combined approval of 37%. The lowest in modern France. Macron, the democratically elected leader of France, with an approval rating of 19%, and the prime minister, an approval rating of 18%. And yet he remains the emperor of Europe, or at least he's trying to be the leader and the emperor of Europe, little Napoleon Jupiter Macron. Nobody likes him. Nobody likes him, but he is leading Europe. And actually today, I believe he will be in Berlin meeting with another unpopular leader, BlackRock Merz. That's right. Macron will be meeting with Merz, I believe, either today or tomorrow. The leaders of Europe, everybody. No one likes them, but can't get rid of them, right? Anyway, that's the video, theduran.locals.com. We are on Rumble, Odyssey, BitChute, Telegram, Rockfin, and X. Go to the Duran shop, pick up some merch like what I'm wearing in this video update. There is a link in the description box down below. Take care.